How long have you gone without drinking alcohol? A couple days? A week? 2 weeks? How about a month? A whole 30 days without drinking alcohol. This is Nathaniel Drew's experience not drinking alcohol for 30 days. And we're about to react to it together and see his perspective going through the whole process. The withdrawal symptoms, the detox, all that stuff. So tap in. Pick it, catch it.
Y'all some demons. She said that she loved me and she needed it. Tore my heart to pieces, into pieces. I'm not quick to trust, I don't mean to be conceited.
Welcome back to the channel, y'all. What's good with you? My channel is all about providing you with a daily dose of edutainment. My goal, my aspiration is to make you laugh, brighten up your day, while also giving you information that can positively impact your life. So I'm all about self-mastery, self-development, while enjoying the process with laughter along the way. So if you're feeling that, subscribe. So we got Nathaniel's experience. So you all know I'm pretty big component about like getting over addiction-related topics like pornography, alcohol, weed, all that stuff. So we'll have to watch it together. I'll try and leave my commentary towards the end of the video. And yeah, let's type in. Oh, and if any of y'all are struggling with any type of addiction, I have a whole mini course that he shares his experience, but it doesn't really like give you like step-by-step guided approach to quit your own personal addiction, right? And he has some more incentive to quit if this is what he wants to, because essentially he's getting paid to quit, you know what I'm saying? You may not have that incentive in your own life. He's making a video, and obviously he's getting money through the video, AdSense, Patreon. So essentially you could say he's getting paid to quit, but your reward to quit may not be as high or, you know, like that. So I have a whole process that walks you through foods you should be eating, meditation you should be implementing to make recovery a lot easier. So I'm gonna let the video run through, and if I have any commentary, I'll probably leave it towards the end of the video. But let's get into it.
What's up, you guys? So I decided to go the month of May without any alcohol. Honestly, of all of the challenges that I've undertaken so far this year, this was by far the easiest. It wasn't so much to do something difficult. I think for me, it was much more about facing social pressure and exploring restraint. Originally, I recorded this whole intro and explained my reasoning, but that's basically it. There's this weird disconnect because it's a leading cause of death and disease worldwide, and yet I see it everywhere. And I realized that I'm doing some stuff simply because I see other people doing it, and that's not a good enough reason. Binge drinking is really common with people my age in particular, and I feel like I've often participated in drinking out of fear of missing out, you know, which I think is totally the wrong reason to do it. I didn't feel very cool in school, and so, I don't know, I think that led into kind of a sense of insecurity as a short little guy, and that played into my decision making. So I'm sitting here editing this video and eating peanut butter. That's completely irrelevant, and I'm almost out. It's not good. Anyway, I'm editing this piece and realizing that there's no way to make this sound cool, no matter how I spin it. One of my goals has been to try and make self-improvement more approachable. And my method of doing that has been to try and make things fun and light. This honestly isn't really either of those things, okay? So full disclaimer. Look, in my defense, I will say Tyler, the creator, has apparently said that he doesn't drink either, okay? So I'm not in bad company. So this was really an interesting experiment for me. During this month of no alcohol, a lot of interesting things came up. So I'm a real beginner on this topic, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the 5 Buddhist precepts, which is something that I came across recently. These are commitments that Buddhist people make to abstain from killing living beings, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxication. The idea is that these precepts help you develop your mind and help you progress towards enlightenment. The interesting thing about this is that they're really not rules. They're kind of like...
See, one of the things that alcohol does do for you is like it doesn't really allow you to perform at your optimal level, right? Whether that be when you're studying, at work. You think you're a functioning alcoholic, but you could be so much more productive.
I'm not trying to act, but you're not.
Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
So much more better person, just overall better to be around. if you're not constantly being intoxicated by drinking. So
suggestions. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're making a commitment to yourself. So I did some reading about this, and the fifth precept, which is the one that interests me the most with regards to this little challenge that I did, has a lot of fascinating interpretations. Some say that the purpose of this fifth precept is to help you observe the other four. I read that intoxication can be seen as moving away from reality, which is the opposite of what meditation does. One interpretation that I really liked was a little bit broader. Intoxication can take, obviously, the form of drugs and alcohol, but it can be a lot more than that. You can intoxicate your own mind with doctrines or fanaticism. In other words, just be humble. That being said, there are apparently a lot of Japanese Zen priests that drink a lot. So, I don't know, I think this is just food for thought more than anything. The thing that I wasn't expecting from all of this was more than the challenge itself, which wasn't hard at all. I found it difficult to figure out where I stand. What do I want my relationship with these kinds of things to be? You know, like, what is my decision-making process? There seems to be like this huge range in opinions. You know, Nietzsche, for example, was this German philosopher, and he was completely anti-alcohol. His whole thing was that alcohol numbs pain, and growth and accomplishment inevitably have painful aspects to them, which, I mean, I think that's true. I have gone through periods where I have consumed a lot more alcohol, and this corresponded with an increase in social interactions, you know, a lot more friends, a lot more going out, but it also feels like it corresponded with a lowering in the quality of the interactions. I mean, just, I can't remember.
I think you should ask yourself, right? The people that you drink with, can you drink with them? Can you hang out with them without necessarily needing to drink? Because if you can't, then you're probably only with them because of your shared interest in alcohol. And if you were to express your desire to maybe quit, and they aren't compassionate towards that, and they rather say, oh no, you're a loser. No, not necessarily a loser, but oh, why would you quit? Why would you quit? Right? You should ask yourself, would you hang around these people if you were sober, or are you able to hang around these people without needing alcohol in the event? If you can't enjoy life or enjoy an event without alcohol, you are boring. Hot take, hot take, hot take.
That many super interesting or thought-provoking conversations from those times. You think you're saying something profound when you're drunk, but it's not. It's really not.
Usually when you're high. When you're high.
All of that wasn't fun. I mean, it definitely was, but when I think about like the bigger picture of my life, those periods didn't really contribute that much value. I really don't want to come across as a hard ass here. I know that it's perfectly okay to have fun, but I can't help but think that I could have been using my time and energy in a more meaningful way. So it's only been 3 days of this experiment, but I've already had a couple of opportunities to kind of test things out, and I thought I'd give a little bit of an update. A couple of days ago, I went to a party with French people. That might seem like an unimportant fact, but the reason that I mention it is because I discovered alcohol when I moved to France 5 years ago. I had an amazing time while I was living there, and so being in this kind of environment brought back a lot of memories. Just like everything that I'm doing on this channel, I am just approaching this with a lot of curiosity. I don't want to come from this place of like moral superiority. So it was really interesting. It was hilarious, actually, observing everybody around me, people speak, their mannerisms, their gestures, because it's like this middle ground between their normal selves and like a 7-year-old. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I feel like whenever I drink, it's kind of like I'm putting a thick piece of plastic between me and my thoughts and what's going on in my mind. I know that alcohol makes it easier to socialize. It breaks down some of the barriers, but it doesn't help you get better at socializing, I feel like. So I don't know.
I think one of the things guys do, especially, or maybe girls do, maybe not to approach guys, but the whole idea of liquid courage, right? Getting that extra courage because you care less when you're drinking, so that extra courage to approach a guy, or approach anybody, or talk anywhere, right? Be able to talk without necessarily needing all these things to help you per se. I'm sure once in a while it's cool, but like needing Like, okay, so you see a girl in the library. Are you gonna get a drink, get a quick Budweiser, a quick Smirnoff, drink it, and then come and talk to her? By the time you go and get it, she's gone. Alright, so liquid courage is not the wave either. Right? I mean, not being heavily dependent on that all the time to talk to girls. If you're able to like take it to the chest, if you get rejected, take it to the chest. If you get something progressing, take it to the chest as well. I understand rejection, especially as a guy, is mad, but not relying on alcohol or anything outside of yourself. That's one of the reasons why I love meditation, because meditation is like you're not using any type of substance. It's just your mind, your breath, your thinking, your body, to calm down and to relax. The same benefits that a lot of these substances can give you is what meditation can give you.
It was fun though. I did have a good time without alcohol, which was kind of cool. The middle way is what the Buddhist tradition considers the first teaching that the Buddha delivered after his awakening. And he was talking about this idea of going somewhere in between the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. If I had to boil this down into one word, it's basically moderation. I personally have a hard time with this because I see extremeness kind of all over the place these days. There are extremes in politics, and not just that, it's like there are extreme reactions that people now have to politics. People also seem to have extreme relationships with diets, or extreme reactions to diets. And on places like YouTube, it's the most extreme content that's going to get the most views and attention. To some degree, I'm participating in that, because I am taking on challenges and trying to push myself to grow and expand. Sometimes, like an insane idea will really excite me because something about the challenge is enticing. And I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. I think it's important to push yourself and find out where your limits and your boundaries are. That has just always been my way of learning and my style of living life, So that's just kind of my opinion on things. For me personally, I think this goes way beyond creating limitations with alcohol. I'm a little bit concerned about imposing too much rigidity in my life and preventing myself from being able to be spontaneous if I want to be. I think discipline is super important in this world and in this time period in particular, but sometimes I'm concerned about getting too married to a particular idea that I have in my head rather than reality and how I actually operate. Just because I think it's cool to do things a certain way, maybe I saw a video somewhere, maybe somebody told me about this new trend that's happening, doesn't mean that it makes sense for me. 2 days ago, I went to see a few friends to watch a movie and hang out and chat for a while. And I bought some beers and a kombucha and took it with me. I had every intention of drinking again and just enjoying the evening with them. But when I was there, I just kind of felt like the alcohol wasn't going to add anything to my experience. I really didn't need it to be able to enjoy my time with them, to be able to enjoy the conversations, and so I didn't drink. And at this point...
Alright, well, I think we get the gist of it, right? It's like, ask yourself, why do you drink? What is the root cause of the reason you drink, smoke weed, take coffee? Like, how often are you drinking, right? And you may say, oh, I'm not addicted to alcohol. Try and go 2 weeks, a week, try and go a week, just 1 week without drinking alcohol. And let me see if you don't face those, or let's say, for example, you've tried to quit in the past, right? If you try to quit drinking and you keep relapsing, there in itself is an issue, right? So I'm not here to tell you that you should or shouldn't quit. But if you see you're spending too much money on it, if maybe your health, you're not able to get the same gains in the gym because of the things alcohol is doing to your body, it's time to evaluate. Like how much the greater pros and cons in your life, why are you drinking it, how much you drinking it, and if you try to relapse, if you try to quit but you end up relapsing, you're probably addicted to it. So if you have a whole mini course, check it out. Link to my description, pin comment. I'll help you get right and get over your addiction once and for all. But yeah, God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste. And always remember, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. I'll see y'all in the next video. Shout out to Nathaniel. I'll link his channel in the description as well. Deuces.
Gotta pick this music, shit is coming first. I can't let them hold me, cause they won't be there at my worst. Everyone chasing the hoes, rather go hitting the road. Working on stacking this dough, working on me and my own.